I was a young little fellow, about yay high. And I was, just like 2 years ago. I met a gentleman. I met a gentleman that kind of helped change my life and change the trajectory of my life. I was headed in one way, and something happened, medically speaking, that was beyond my control. And I went, well, I got to do something else. And I'd always been interested in music. And I went to go see this guy play. He was a piano player. And the show that I saw, the show that I saw, it was this piano player and just a drummer. And it was the most amazing thing that I'd ever seen. It was just piano and drums. And I'd never seen anything like that, And it was every genre of blues. And it was every emotion that ran through me. And there was like 4 people in this place. And I was like, wow, what is this stuff? And I walked up to the guy and I said, hey man, my name is Nick Moss. And I'm a bass player. Because at the time I was playing bass, like I said. He said, you're a bass player, huh? He said, do you play upright? I said, I do play upright. I just got one last week. I'm learning it. And he says, you want to play a gig next Saturday? It's like, wait, what? I just told you that I just got the bass. I'm like, sure, I will do that gig. Because I didn't know any better. And I played the show, and I messed up every song. Every song. And I apologized after I said, I'm so sorry, man, I messed up your whole show. He said, no, don't apologize. And he could see something in me, I think, that he just saw this kid wants to do this. He just doesn't know how to get there. He said, let's come back to my place and let's hang out for a little bit. It was late at night. It was after the show. And the gig was close to where he lived. And he took me to his house. And in the basement of his house, I swear to God, don't make me go all Muhammad Ali on you up there. Anyways, so he took me in the basement of his house. And I walk down the stairs. And the first thing I see, in every hallway leading down, the basement was like as big as this room. And every wall was covered from floor to ceiling with show posters and of old blues shows and jazz shows. From everywhere in the world and all over Chicago. From the 1930s to the 1970s. And some of these posters were hand-signed by the artists that played the shows. And then he took me into another room in the basement, and there was thousands upon thousands upon thousands of 78s, 45s, LPs, cassettes, 8-tracks, 4-tracks, folks. He even had the old 4-tracks that they didn't make but like 2 years in a row. Blues, jazz, everything. I was like, I'm in Blues Disneyland. Where is this place? And he poured me a drink. And he said, you know what, man? You got good time and you got feeling. I know you want to do this. And he started making me cassettes while we were sitting down there drinking and talking. And he had this hi-fi system set up down there so he could record his records on the cassette tape. And the next morning, I don't know what time the sun was up, we'd been drinking all night, and he sent me home with a stack of cassettes about this thing. He said, listen to those. Little Walter, Muddy Waters, Sonny Boy Williamson, Little Brother Montgomery, Sunderland Slim. Amazing stuff that I had no idea who these people were. He said, listen to this stuff, listen to those bass lines, and come back next week and play a gig with me. I'm like, wait, you're going to hire me again? He said, listen to stuff, come back next week. So I did. I listened all week and I practiced. And the next week we played, and the first song we played, and I got through it, and he didn't say nothing. And the second song, about 3 or 4 bars into the song, I turned to look at him, and he's playing piano, and it was like this. And it was the greatest feeling ever. Like, I went, and like, he knew that I'd done my homework and I put in my time. And he said, you keep doing this stuff and you'll be all right. And this guy played with everybody. Turns out, man, like he played with Jimmy Rogers. He played with, like Hip Lin Chain. He used to take care of Sunnyland Slim. If you don't know who Sunnyland Slim is, one of the godfathers of Chicago blues. The godfather of the Chicago blues piano was a guy named Little Brother Montgomery. And if you called him a blues player, he'd probably slap you because he said, no, I'm a jazz player. But he was the godfather. Most of the great blues pianists that came out after him owed a big debt to Little Brother. But Chuck took care of him until he passed away. He grew up in Gainesville, Florida, and drove to Chicago to meet these guys and ended up being their friends. And then he became my friend somehow. And he made me these tapes. And he said, you keep doing this. And his name was Barrel House Chuck. You guys know who Barrel House Chuck is? We have any fans, Barrel House Chuck? He passed away last year, very young, 58 years old. He passed away from cancer. And you know what I say about cancer? Cancer. It's a terrible thing. We can go, to the moon. They got to figure this shit out. Get rid of it. But anyways, Chuck was one of my best friends, and we had gone all over the world together and ended up playing thousands and thousands of gigs and spent a lot of time in hotel rooms smelling each other's dirty underwear and whatnot. It was not a great thing, but it was the best thing that I could ever think of, man, because I got to go on the road with a guy that had spent all this time with all these great guys. And, he was one of my best friends. I was there when he took his last breath. And this may sound like it come from a movie, but this is absolutely true. 2 nights before he passed away, we all came to visit him in the hospital. And my young piano player here, Taylor Streiff here, he had become friends with Chuck too. He had the good fortune of getting on Chuck's good side, which is not an easy thing to do. Especially as a piano player. He hated other piano players. He thought they didn't do their homework. But he liked the young man. And they became friends in the last year or two of his life. And I remember very particularly that evening, and we're all in the hotel room surrounding his bed, and we knew it wasn't going to last too much long. And Chuck looked over at Taylor standing against the wall, and he said, I got to go, man. And he said, it's up to you now. And he pointed right at him. And man, we all started crying. It was a heavy moment. And I wrote this song for him on the new CD. And this song is based off a story that he told me. I told you guys that he used to take care of some of the old guys. He took care of Little Brother Montgomery. And one time while he was hanging out at Little Brother Montgomery's house, he said, I got to go play a show, brother. And brother was, he was kind of sad that he had to leave. He said, no, it's an early show. It's on Michigan Avenue. And brother said, man, I haven't been on Michigan Avenue since 1947. He said, well, you got to come with me because it's changed. You live in Chicago all this time. You got to see it. So he convinced brother to come with him to the show. They played the show. And at the end of the night, they went walking down Michigan Avenue. It was a summer night. They stopped on this corner of Michigan and Adams or Jefferson, one of those corners. The little brother started looking around. And he started shaking his head. And Chuck says, are you okay, brother? He says, I'm all right. He says, Chuck, the last time I stood on this corner, I had Fats Waller on the left and Louis Armstrong on the right. He said, Chuck, I walked with giants. And I love that story. And I love that line. And Chuck took care of all these great bluesmen and played with all these great bluesmen. And so I wrote this song for Barrel House Chuck called He Walked with Giants. And we're going to feature our piano player right here, Taylor Streiff. with the blues every night. Gainesville to Chicago, you know it drove straight on through. Just to meet his heroes who spoke the truth. Oh man, they walk with giants, people. Never on the left and on the right. Barking Bill and Jimmy Rogers, Little Joe, man, it was blues every goddamn night. Clap on the chop. With giants, folks. They were on us left, but you know they were on us right.